Hi, Namaste, everyone. Welcome to this video, which I'm doing for the Living Wise project. For those of you who know the website, you know that I've been writing on there for a few years now. I don't really do videos, but with this the lockdown thing and everyone seeming to have a lot of time on their hands, I've been seeing a lot of new people subscribing to the website, and so I thought maybe if people do have the time and the inclination to spend more time in contemplation and in reading some of the things that I share on the website, so I thought I'd do maybe some videos on sharing with you some readings from some of the texts that I personally enjoy reading, and that texts that are inspiring me at this time. So this book, I recently got this book. I don't know if you can see so well. The Gateless Gate. It's called The Gateless Gate. It's a book of Zen Koans. It's by Koun. I hope I'm saying that right. Koun, Koun Yamada. And I know that on my website I share mostly about Indian scriptures and Indian culture, Indian spirituality, but I just wanted to share this because it's what I'm reading right now, and it's inspiring to me right now, and so I thought I'd share with you what I've been reading. So it's a really interesting book which has a whole collection of Zen Koans. So let's have a look at the contents. Yeah, so there's 48 of them. They call them cases in the book. So there's 48 koans, 48 cases. And it's very interestingly done. What they do is they give you the actual koan. They call it the case. And then they give the commentary of one of the Zen masters. So here is somebody called Mumon. So they give his commentary, Mumon commentary, which is, it's a bit, the commentary of the Zen master himself is also something that is calling you into the direct experience of what the koan is trying to point to. So it's not like a very word by word explanation. It's not like a theoretical explanation. The commentary of the master is also a kind of pointer. So these koans, maybe I should back up a little bit and start with what a koan is for those of you who may not know. So koan is something that's used in the Japanese and the Korean Zen traditions, and it's basically, I don't know what, maybe you could call it like a riddle. So it's a kind of, it's a sort of riddle or like a little puzzle kind of thing that's given by the Zen master to his disciples. And so basically the disciples are supposed to work with the koan. That's what they call it, working with the koan, which basically means contemplating on it. And contemplating not in an intellectual way. So the idea is not to get an answer at the end of it. It's not to say, oh, I know what the answer is. It's not like a puzzle where you solve with some kind of conceptual answer, but it's something that you're supposed to hold in your mind, and if it's allowed to do its work, then it basically, it leads the disciple beyond the mind, and it reveals something to them. It's a kind of, it invokes, or it leads to a realization in the disciple. And so the answer is, the answer to the Zen master would be the disciple's realization, or what the disciple has become or has found through the koan. So that's what a koan is. So often when you read these koans, so there's so many of them in the book. So there's let's read one. So there's one which says, Master Getten asked a monk, Kechu made 100 carts. If he took off both wheels and removed the axle, what would he make clear about the cart? So, as you can see, they don't really make sense to you when you read them, and then you kind of have to really go much deeper into them, and they're not something that can be solved by the intellect. So that's what a koan is. So this one, I've just been flipping through this book. I haven't gone sort of in any kind of order. I just opened this one page, chapter 16, one day, and I just read that one koan and its commentary, and I was just I liked it so much. And really, with these books, just reading one is like more than enough. Like if you just stay with just one, I don't feel like you have to go through it like a traditional book where you feel like you're learning or progressing, or you don't need more and more and more. In fact, if you really absorb even a little bit, you don't need to read all that much. So yeah, this is the only one that I've actually read properly. I really enjoyed it. I skimmed through a couple of others, but I didn't seem to enjoy them so much. This one is called The Sound of the Bell and the 7-Panel Robe. So it says, the case, which is the koan, Unmon said, "The world is vast and wide like this. Why do we put on our 7-panel robe at the sound of the bell?" So that's the koan. So the world is vast and wide like this. Why do we put on our 7-panel robe at the sound of the bell? So what I'll do is I don't want to read the entire thing because I think that would take too long. I'll skip a little bit and I'll read the bits that I think are important. So after that it says the verse, which is something that goes along with the koan. I'm guessing there's not so much explanation as to what the verse is, but the verse here is so beautiful. I really enjoyed it. I really liked it, so I wanted to read this out. So the verse is, "With realization, all things are of one family. Without realization, everything is separate and different." Without realization, all things are of one family. With realization, everything is separate and different. So it says, with realization, all things are of one family. Without realization, everything is separate and different. Without realization, all things are of one family. With realization, everything is separate and different. It's really quite beautiful. So I'm just going to read now the commentary on this verse, actually, just on that verse. So it says, with realization, all things are of one family. All is one, one is all. Everything is one is everything. This is the vista of the enlightened world. Recall for a minute the fraction I have told you about. In the denominator world, the world of the zero infinite, all is one, and every numerator contains the denominator. So one is all. I'll read that bit again. So in the denominator world, the world of the zero infinite, all is one, and every numerator contains the denominator. So one is all. Without realization, everything is separate and different. This is what we see in our ordinary world. All things stand opposed and separate. There is no inner relation between them. To the unenlightened person, the world of abstract equality, the world of the zero infinite or of absolute emptiness, is completely unknown. Then, without realization, all things are of one family. This is the blind equality, perverted equality. To unenlightened eyes, man and woman are the same, teacher and student are the same, parents and children are the same, king and beggar are the same. With realization, everything is separate and different. This is the most difficult to understand. Everything and everyone is alone and single. Everything is the only one in the whole universe, alone and single. Everything in the universe has two phases. In the first, everything is completely the same. We call this absolute sameness. In the second phase, everything is completely different from everything else. All things are separate and disconnected. They are alone and single. This we call absolute difference. These two aspects are what we realize in enlightenment. I think it's really something that is worth going over again and again. It's really, it's something that we need to invoke our intuition to understand. If we listen just with the mind and with logic or conceptual knowledge, I think it's difficult to get it. But if you really feel it intuitively, what is being said here, I think it's really quite beautiful. I'll also read just on the original Koan, something on a little commentary on that. So I digressed a little into that verse because it was really quite beautiful and it came up here on the first page. But just on the Koan as well, just some commentary on. I'll reread the Koan just to remind you what it was. The world is vast and wide like this. Why do we put on our 7-panel robe at the sound of the bell? So it says, the world is very spacious, and when you open your eyes, the whole world comes into them. Nothing will interrupt your seeing. At that moment, each one of you is one with the whole world. You are nothing else but the whole world. The whole world is nothing other than you. When you have no consciousness of I, everything is yours. There is nothing that is not yours. That is what Unmon meant when he said, the world is so vast and wide like this. The world is truly very spacious and you are completely free of all restrictions. You can stand up, sit down, eat when you are hungry, lie down when you feel tired. You can do anything freely and at will. But why do monks, hearing the sound of the bell, put on ceremonial robes, which is the 7-panel kesa, and come to the hall? The kesa is the outer robe worn by regular Buddhist priests. The rakusu, which many of us wear in the zendo, is a kind of miniature kesa. Kesa are differentiated by the number of cloth panels sewn together. It's interesting to me, just as a side note, the kesa, which is like the 7-panel robe, is a very similar word to the kosha. It just made me think of like the layers of the human body in Indian thought, like in Vedic thought, kesa. So the kesa are differentiated by the number of cloth panels sewn together. The 5-panel kesa is made of 5 strips of cloth and the robe which monks wear for their daily activities. It is a robe that monks wear. The 7-panel kesa is a dress coat worn for minor ceremonies. Kesa, which have 9 to 25 panels, are for full dress occasions. Every morning in the monastery, when the appointed time comes, the bell is rung. Upon hearing it, the monks put on their 7-panel kesa and go to the hall to participate in the morning ceremony. But why? This why. It is the wonderful charm, the magical talisman which brings a Zen student to enlightenment. This why is the miraculous means of putting away the why of reasoning with all its thoughts and ideas. And to pursue the why, you must surpass the why. This is really nice. To pursue the why, you must surpass the why. When you hear the bell, you should know that the sound is empty in itself. When you put on a robe, you must realize that the action of putting it on, the robe, and you yourself are all totally void. Some of you are familiar with the last line of the Mealtime Sutra, which is, "We and this food and our eating are equally empty." If you can acknowledge this fact, you will realize that when you put on your robe, there is no reason or why in it. Why do you put on a suit and go out at 8 o'clock every morning? Why do you eat lunch at noon? Why do you go to bed at 10 in the evening? Why? Why? Try to search out this why. There is no reason for the why in anything. When we stand up, there is no reason why. We just stand up. When we just eat without any reason why. When we put on the kesa, we just put it on. Our life is just a continuous just. Then it's on Momont's commentary. Generally speaking, in practicing and studying Zen, it is most detestable to follow sounds and pursue colors. Even though you may become enlightened through hearing sounds and come to realize mind by seeing colors, that is the ordinary way of things. People do not know that for real Zen monks, when they are riding on sounds and becoming one with colors, everything is clear moment by moment. Everything is full of wonder, action after action. When you hear a sound, however, just tell me this. Does the sound come to the ear, or the ear go to the sound? Even though you have extinguished both sound and silence, what will you realize here? If you hear with the ear, you cannot realize it. When you hear with the eye, for the first time, it will become intimate. So this is the commentary on the Koan by one of the Zen masters. And now it's the commentary on that commentary, because like I mentioned earlier, the commentary of the Zen master is also, let's say, maybe we use the word cryptic. It's also almost like a Koan. It's also, it's not like straightforward, explanatory. So the commentary on that commentary is written next. In practicing and studying Zen, it is most detestable to follow sounds and pursue colors. So, to put it a little more clearly, as long as you think or feel yourself to be the subject and pursue sounds and colors as objects outside of yourself, you will never attain enlightenment. People do not know that for real Zen monks, when they are riding on sounds and becoming one with colors, so it says riding on sounds and becoming one with colors means being one with the whole objective world. When you are absorbed in the song of a bird or seeing the color of a flower, there is nothing but the song or color in the whole universe. At that time, the song is not a song, nor is the color a color anymore. For real monks, everything is clear, moment by moment. Everything is free, action after action, for everything is just as it is. When you hear a sound, however, just tell me, does the sound come to the ear, or the ear go to the sound? Neither. When you are hearing, there is neither ear nor sound. It's really nice. When you are hearing, there is neither ear nor sound. To hear without ear and sound is true hearing. Even though you have extinguished both sound and silence, what will you realize here? So sound represents the whole objective world, and silence represents consciousness or mind. When you have extinguished both sound and consciousness, there is no hearing. What is there? If you hear with the ear, you cannot realize it. When you hear with the eye for the first time, it will become intimate. Hearing with your whole being, not just with the organ of the ear, is expressed by Onmon with the two words in mo, which means just this. So hearing with your whole being is what is expressed as just this. When you become truly one with the objective world, you will for the first time realize your essential nature, the reality of the universe itself, which at any time and anywhere is just this, just that, just it, nothing more, nothing less. It's very beautiful. Maybe you need to, maybe you'd like to go through that again just to hear it a bit more slowly. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed listening to that. Thank you very much. Namaste.